right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about some motivation. We're going to talk about some meditation. We're going to talk about some inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Getting ourselves into that mentality, getting into that vibe, utilizing what we have inside, utilizing our focus, our knowledge, our discipline, overcoming our challenges, putting ourselves inside of our mentality, inside of our ability, utilizing what we have inside. And so, what kind of challenges are you facing off against today? Connect with the networks: YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, and podcasts. And so, what does it take to get within ourselves? What does it take for us to sit down at a point where we're willing to grind no matter the results? When what we're facing off against and the challenges that we're facing off against don't have the ability to stop us. And so, sitting here in this kind of mentality, sitting here in this kind of place, utilizing what is going on inside of ourselves is what it's really about, folks. It's about, you know, believing in you. It's about believing in your ability and not allowing, how others people think or act to affect your mentality. And so when we're sitting down inside of ourselves, when we're going through challenges, when we're struggling inside of who we are, the one who pulls us up is the person that's inside. It's the one that tells us, hey, you need to spend time by yourself. You got to spend time focusing on the goals and the dreams that you want to achieve. And so, are we achieving those dreams? Are we getting inwards to that point? Are we utilizing our gifts? Are we utilizing our challenges in that way? And so, one of those things that I've learned how to do is to start to write things down and to put it in front of myself and to listen to positivity and start putting positive vibes outwards, actual positive vibrations. And so when you're facing off against things, sometimes you're just a moment away from being on the other side. Sometimes you're a moment away from overcoming things within yourself. And I recognize this. I recognize that what it takes inside is to believe in you. What it takes inside is to face off against your challenges. And, you know, they're not somebody else's to own. They're not somebody else's to carry. They're your own challenges. They're truly there in front of you to ask you if you have what it takes, if what you're able to go through, you can. And I focus to that point. I realize that you got to allow the things to move out of the way that aren't meant for you. And it's one of the most difficult things that we do. It's when we're able to believe in ourselves, we're able to believe in our ability, and we're able to pick ourselves up and to know that it's possible. And are we doing that? Are we truly sitting inside of ourselves with that kind of a strength? Are we sitting inside of ourselves with that kind of a mentality? Do we sit inside of ourselves and start to see that we're worth it? And so are we doing that? Are we, on that kind of a page where we're sitting and asking those kinds of questions where sometimes we might be, some days we might not be. Are we getting back up? You know, and so inside of yourself, inside of your ability, you got to believe in you. You got to believe that you're worth it. That the things that you do, the challenges that you face off against, they're worth it. And how do you start to find that kind of foundation? How do you start to find that kind of focus? How do you start to believe in yourself to the point where you have the ability to overcome your own challenges? And so when we're inside of who we are, it's not easy, my friends. It takes patience. It takes observation. It takes the ability for you to be you and for you to face off against those types of things. So I want to look at what brings a person towards positivity, what brings a person towards the ability of believing in themselves. What does it take for you to sit down inside even when you might be struggling? Like sometimes it's, like a lot of times we want to help out other people. What about when you're going through something? What about the things that you face off against individually? And so, how do we visit a mentality to lift ourselves up then? How about when it's not about somebody else, but you're facing off against things inside of yourselves? So, how do we lift ourselves up when that is going on? Yeah, how do we start to see those kinds of places? How do we start to believe in ourselves? How do we start to focus to a point where we start to achieve our dreams and our goals? And so, what are your dreams? What are your goals? What are the things that you want to do? And I'm looking at that daily. I'm looking within to find that best friend on a daily basis. And it's amazing that challenges, they don't hold you back. Okay, challenges are not meant to hold you back. They're meant to help you to grow. And I look inside at the place and the person that I am and the things that I've been through, you know, and recognize that that's what separates, the people who really want to make it, is that they're willing to face off against their own challenges. They're willing to sit down to the point where they focus, where they utilize what they have inside, where they're willing to get back up. And I really do truly enjoy to help people out. I really enjoy to be part of a community and to be there for you guys to uplift you. And it's not just you guys sometimes, it's not just you that goes through challenges, but how do we work through them? How do we put ourselves in a place where the challenges don't have the ability to stop us? How we can get to the place inside of ourselves where our mentality opens up and our ability inside of who we are. And so, what does it take for you to do that? What does it really take for you to be who you are inside? And it's on a daily that we're seeking, you know, our place in the universe, our ability for us to face off against those kinds of challenges. And it takes work, my friends. It takes putting yourself in a place where you give yourself the time, where you give yourself the energy, where you give yourself the ability to grow. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to sit down and to have those moments that are shaky, that sometimes they need to be stabilized. And each of us seeks that. And it's a reminder to the reason why I do meditation on a daily basis. And it's a reminder to have peace inside. It comes from within you. And that might be the one thing that separates me from other people, is that when I go inwards, when I spend time on myself, sometimes I don't express myself to other people. And if I do, it's because I'm caring. It's because I'm wanting other people to see that they're worth it, that they have the ability inside of themselves. But what about our own challenges, my friends? What about the days when you don't want to get up? What about the days where you want to sleep in, you just want to bury your head? What about those days too? And so, it's a reminder that when we're having challenges, that they do pass. That if you're able to weather the storm, that you'll make it to the other side. And so, sometimes I face off against those storms too. We no human being doesn't have storms, but it's to remember that on the other side of the storms, there's sunny skies. And so, Are we truly seeing that part inside of ourselves that is special, that can make it through those kind of storms, that can ultimately be who you are? And that's the thing that shaped me, is that there that part inside that you know makes me who I am, makes me the caring person that I am, faces off against storms sometimes too. And it's not that it's not normal, it's that sometimes we have to recognize that difficulty brings you towards positivity. Difficulty brings you in a direction that you can sit down with yourself, that you can be who you are on the inside, that you can utilize what you have. And I see that, and it's not always easy, and I understand that we can do it, that we can achieve ourselves, that we can achieve our abilities inside of our mentalities, inside of our vibrations. And I enjoy the conversations that have with the people here, and the ability to work through challenges, and to put one's mentality in a place of vibration, and to help to uplift you all. And it reminds me, it gives me a drive daily. I ask this question every day: is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. And so, how do we uplift ourselves to that place where we start to focus? How do we uplift ourselves to that place where we utilize what we have inside? And I'm waking up today asking that question. I'm waking up today asking myself, is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? You know, what am I focused into, my friends? What is it that I focus on, that I utilize, that nobody else can? And it's that mentality to not allow emotions to stop me, not allow challenges to hold me back. And it's it's inside of ourselves that we have we have that place that nobody else can. And it's when you vibrate with that kind of place, it's when you are facing off against things, and you see the other side. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I focus into positivity. And and I want to share that reason with you guys, to continue to struggle, you know, to continue to believe in yourselves, to continue to go to that place inside of who you are, where you allow yourself to be uplifted. You see, I don't always have easy days, okay? But when I'm going through challenges, it's a reminder every day when I wake up that the things that make me and drive me is that I ask myself that question every day. Is what I'm about to do today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And as I get in front of the camera, and my brother, he went to go, deliver hay, and I'm sitting here and I'm punching the button. I'm getting on there, I'm getting out there, I'm grinding, and I could see people's success happening around me. I really do enjoy the comments that people leave, the support that people leave in the different platforms and the things that they watch. And it's it's amazing to see the support that other people have. And you know and in storms, we seek out shelter. Yeah, we seek out the part inside of who we are, where we overcome our challenges, okay? And certain parts of our being and our vibrations become open, all right? And And it's not that it's not a beautiful thing, because it is a beautiful thing that we open ourselves to other people. But we also need to remember to understand ourselves, to understand that who we are inside matters. That, you know, when you are who you are, that there's a blessing behind that. That it it opens up a mentality to focus, okay, and to overcome those kinds of challenges. And I'm not saying that I'm not facing off against challenges. I'm saying that when I face off against challenges, the way that I overcome those challenges is by remembering that we're a student in life. That when we remember this, when we remember that the student who enters the classroom has to study, okay, life becomes a study. It becomes a journey. It becomes a part of your path and your journey. And it's only going to happen when you become that whole person inside of who you are, that it starts to become worth it. And I'm seeing that happening on a daily basis. I'm seeing that growth, and I'm really grateful for the patience that the universe has had with me to grow. And I look back at the times that I could have been broken down on the side of the car, left for dead. you know I could have been in a place where I had so much pain in my heart that it was destroying me. Okay, I had shut down those kind of emotions. I had shut out that part inside of myself, and I had locked my own door. I had locked my own key to my own heart out. And so it's a recognized when people come along and they make you laugh, or they make you smile, or they bring you to a place where parts of yourself open back up. And so I guess that might, I don't know, that might be what makes me unique, is that I can shut off my emotions. Okay? And to me that's not okay, because when we focus to the point where we're able to destroy the emotion, then the challenges we're facing off against aren't truly dealt with. So how do we focus to that place where we can find positivity then? How do we focus to that place where what we are inside starts to open up? And so, you know, I recognize this. And one of the most amazing things about this year for me has been that it's a year of understanding. It's a year of self growth. It's a year of self reflection and self ability to understand that you're worth it. And I recognize that I am. You know, I recognize that, sometimes we shake inside to be able to stand up in our own tunnels, that, the chambers that are in our minds, the things that we go through on a daily basis, the things that we face off against that other people just won't, is what makes us who we are today. And so when you're focusing, when you're out there, when you're grinding, when you're having time to rest, when you're having time to work, when you're having time to put your mentality in place where your ability within yourself starts to open up, do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy the things that you go through? And you know, it's not every day going to be that it's bright and shiny. It's not every day that what you're facing off against becomes possible. And some nights you will go to sleep and it will not be easy. You will wake up wanting to fall back asleep. But do you get up? Do you punch that button? Do you continue to to get to the place inside of who you are where you believe in you. And that is, I guess that might be the one thing that separates me from other people, is that it is, the person that I am inside motivation, meditation, inspiration yoga, to answer that question for the person on Periscope. If you type that in, it'll take you directly to my link. And um, it it's the reason why I get up every day. And I look at this thing, and I look at this grind that I'm on, and the things and the people that I've helped. And sometimes we've got to put a little bit of care into ourselves. Sometimes we've got to put a little bit of time into to sitting down and to giving ourselves just a minute to breathe. And it's a wake up when you're by yourself, that you got to love you first. You hearing what I'm saying? And you know, I hope that all those people that are around me can see that it's not just about them. It's sometimes what we're going through inside, it is our own challenges. It's a lot of times we want to help out other people. We want to get into a place where others become uplifted. It's sometimes we got to uplift ourselves. Sometimes we got to have that day where we close our eyes and we go through challenges that other people can't. And it's such a beautiful thing to know that we have people that are there to support us, and that love us, and that want to be with us and be a part of our journeys. But what about your journey, my friends? What does it take for you to focus to that level? And it's amazing. I remember being by myself in a van, and you know finding a day where I found self-love. uh, all right, I found that the best friend is communicating with yourself, is finding that focus within you, finding that determination to continue to clock in, to continue to go, to not allow the vibrations on the outside to have the ability to affect the person within you. And, you know, I express that to the people that want to be close to me, is that, it's when we focus to that point where we're willing to write stuff down that's not easy. We're willing to speak things out that is not easy. We're willing to find the mentality inside of ourselves, the ability inside of who we are. And you know, I mean, when you feel inside of yourself that you're worth it, is what I'm talking about. Okay? When you feel inside of yourself that your value, not the value from other people, that what you're going through is worth it, and I go through challenges too, don't get me wrong. I really focus to that point where other people become uplifted, where other people find inside of themselves it worth it. And I face off against challenges too. And I have challenges in myself that you know left scars, that are beautiful. I mean, I embrace those challenges, and I see them as a place of growth. I see them as the ability to focus to that point and to be the person that inside is worth it. You hearing what I'm saying? Are you that person inside of who you are, who you truly are? And it's inside of the mentality that it starts to open up. And a lot of times I'm getting on there and I'm reading other people's energy. I'm usually up on the top of the grind and in the top of the place. Hello, blessings. Hello. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Blessings, how are you doing? Wow.
From where are you? No,
Um, okay. Well, obviously the communication was not very clear, so I ended that one. But it 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 shows the reason why we are who we are when, we face off against things. And it's not just uplifting other people. It's when you become uplifted too. You see, you know, a lot of people that are around me consider me an extremely positive person. But what about the days that I face off against challenges too? You know, and when other people see that reason why I'm hard on myself is because I believe in me. Okay, I believe in my abilities. I believe in the ability inside, and I would like to motivate you to believe in yourself at that level. And I like to yet but let you see that it's when you become who you are on the inside that other people see your value. Okay, it's not when you're telling them what to do or not to do. It's when they realize that, wow, just by having this person around me, I'm uplifted. And so I sat in that car daily asking that question: is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? Not for somebody else. It was for myself. It was the thing that was keeping me alive in a time where I was facing off against challenges. You know, I look back at the different experiences that I've had, the things that I've gone through, and that, have brought me to the place where I punch in this clock every day. I do these videos, I get out there, I uplift other people, and sometimes I face off against my own challenges. Sometimes I face off against my own mentality. See, it isn't just for you that I share this. It's for you that I share how I pulled myself out of it, how I brought myself up, how I got to that place where I started to see stable ground. And it's inside of ourselves that we start to seek that out. It's inside of ourselves that we are looking for a way out of that storm. And it's inside of ourselves that we pick ourselves up. And so I'm sitting here with this shake in my hand in a room by myself doing these videos that I do on a daily basis. You know, speaking my mind, speaking that foundation, that focus, that ability within, that mentality, that vibration. And I don't know, that might be the thing that separates me from other people. A lot of, like, I've realized that the most attractive trait on the face of the planet is focus. And, you know, I remember, I remember when I found myself, okay? When I was at the bottom and I picked myself up you know, and I got to that place inside where I believed in who I am. And I do believe in who I am. I know my mentality, I know my ability, I know my self-worth. And if I could get you to see that you're worth it, that, if you have been stalled by challenges and things, that you can see through those challenges, that you can focus to that place where you have what it takes inside of who you are. And it's not always easy. It's not always going to be easy. And it's inside of that focus that you find a way. Okay, it's inside of a foundation created by the Most High God that You are brought to this planet that you have this life that, it's a blessing that you have your life. And I've seen a lot of people just throw their lives away because they don't want to embrace positivity. They don't want to embrace that even the challenges that we face off against are worth it. And, let alone become a student in their lives, let alone sit down inside and start to hear themselves and to spend time close to who they are and spend time close to their abilities inside of who they are. And, you know, a lot of people, they they feel that their emotions are too great for them, that they don't know how to hold them back, they don't know how to stop themselves, they don't know how to help themselves until they do, until they sit down and truly help themselves, until they say, hey, these things will cause me a cancer, these things, I've already lost a friend once to cancer, you know, I already lost a friend once to cancer, and I, I'm not wanting to lose two, you know. And this time, I'm really in a place where I recognize that there's a great energy connection, and it's when we give ourselves that ability inside of who we are, and it's just not about somebody else, my friends. When you get inwards inside of you, it it takes that type of self-care and that type of self mentality. It takes that kind of ability and believing in who you are, and for once, that key that I locked myself into, it opened up. It started laughing again, it started singing again, it started to want things that I thought I never wanted again. And so those people that see that should see that part inside of themselves and recognize that, you know, that they're the reason why I opened up again. You hearing what I'm saying? Because I locked that door. I closed that part of myself off, and I didn't want to over open it up again. And, you know, I face off against difficulties too. I face off against things that it is but the thing is that with to the right person, it's beautiful. Okay, to the right person, it's worth laughing again. It's worth singing again. You know, and when you find those kind of connections, when you find those kind of people worth it, you have to realize it, you know? And, I don't know. I'm a human being just like you or anybody else who's out there that might be hearing this message and might be going through a hard time. That when you sit down and become that student, you will learn from your lessons inside. You will learn from your abilities inside of you. You will find ways to make it through those kinds of challenges. You will sit down to the place where you gain access to that kind of knowledge inside of yourselves where you believe in who you are. And I I look at that part, I look at that ability, and I look at that heat and that ability inside to purify ourselves, to purify our mentalities, to purify our knowledge inside. And I just say, wow, it's it's just not easy. I mean, I understand that, and it it's worth it. And I'm just me, you know. Whoever's gonna love me for me is gonna love me for the person that I am, and they're gonna want to be next to me, They're going to want to, you know, be a part of this vibration. And it's not always easy, okay? But when we get to that place inside of ourselves where we center within our beings, then we have the ability to overcome challenges. I mean, truly overcome challenges, overcome places of mentality, places that emotions and fears and pains lay. And, you know, I look at that part inside and I look at that part of our being and that part of our purpose and I see a light. I see knowledge at the end. I see knowing that it's worth it, that every day we're waking up is worth it, that getting on there and punching in is worth it, that it doesn't happen overnight. Okay, it takes you being yourselves, being who you are on the inside, being that beautiful person that we are. And you see, when we find somebody that has got that kind of a link, you know, it's when it's worth opening up. Okay, it's worth finding people that have that kind of ability that that it isn't about what's going on around you, it's about what's going on inside you, but you got to become best friends with yourselves. You got to love you to that place where you overcome those things, and all of us work on that is what I'm trying to say. All of us sit inside of those kind of challenges that it takes time to observe, it takes time to reflect, it takes time to understand, you know and we all go through it. And the knowledge inside is waiting for you to have patience with yourselves. It's waiting for you to start to have self-honesty that sometimes the things that we enjoy are not the most positive for us. What is it that's bringing you, what brings you true happiness, what brings you true true ability for you to be you? What is it that is you? You hearing what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there yesterday and this lady's telling me, oh no, we change. Oh no, we change. Everything that you make a choice and comes from your knowledge inside. If you make a choice to go one way, it's because you choose that's the positive route to go. I'm choosing to go this way. That's positive to me. It might be a negative, but when you learn it is a negative, you're going to hit the end of that road and you're going to turn back around. And a lot of people are held at that peg point. They're held back from their ability inside. They're held back from their ability to move forward. They're held back from the person that they want to become by their own challenges. So when do we start to hit those kind of peg points to where we get through our challenges, where we see those and we go back to the routes that's a part of your journey, that is a part of your being and a part of your purpose, and it's inside of that, and it's like you might have gone on a longer journey to get back to that peg point, where it's worth it. And I'm going to go ahead and take this call here. I know you were calling in yesterday. Blessings.
Hello, hi.
How are you doing?
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be happy, but it is so hard.
I can understand that. This year.
I mean, those books and those videos about be happy, be happy, be happy.
See, here's the
After
thing.
some time, you get sick of it, you know?
Well, that's the thing is that there's a real story that goes on out there, and there's a fake story that goes on out there. You
I
understand?
mean,
You understand what I'm saying?
my point is, if someone is happy, he doesn't need to say it to himself in front of a mirror. Even he doesn't have to think about it.
See, here's the thing. I had people coming to me asking me for the mentality that I was using. See, I'm not just here for myself. I'm
But
here.
there is something like reality, these real facts in life, you know? You can say be happy, but
I'm not talking
there is
about
this.
just being happy. I'm talking about being positive and seeing all the negative and the positive things and turning them positive. I'm not talking
But
about.
society is imposing you like buy this, buy that, and
Trust me.
be that,
Check
and
this out.
out like
I
that,
have
and
I have a Facebook group with about 1,080 members on it,
okay.
and my group has stuff about all of that, about motivation, meditation, and inspiration.
But there is two kinds. The
I
one
get you.
in which you
Let
have
me finish
something.
what I was saying. So I get
Okay,
on there. So I get on there, and I'm the editor, right? So when people try to throw stuff on there, they throw stuff on there that is trying to sometimes sell their book or their something. I'm not
Okay.
trying to sell anything. I want to help people out. I want other people to be able to, for what I've gone through, what I have physically gone through. Okay.
What have you gone through? Can you share your story with us so we can understand a little about you?
Sure, not a problem. I really enjoy conversation. So,
Did you go through a lot of hardships? You know.
oh yeah, let me go ahead and
Have you
share
gone
my
on
story.
a
So,
surgery or something or some disease?
let's go ahead and start with that story. You ready?
Yeah, we are ready.
Okay. So,
This is a friend of mine. If he asks to go to call in, allow him.
okay. So,
Ozzy.
so I first want to start off with the things that I have gone through have got me to help other people out. Now let's start with where they are. Now,
But can you give some examples? You know, you're talking like
sure. Okay,
in a
so
superficial way.
8 years ago, I got married to a woman that I was with for 8 years. Okay?
Okay.
And when I was with this woman, she was all about herself. Everything that I did was about her. It was for her. It was never
Okay.
for me. Okay? And at the age of 25, I got married. Now, from
Okay.
25 till 35, which we're at now,
Yeah.
that's 10 years.
What happened?
Here we go. So, when I first got married, I moved from where I live now back to California, where I grew up. I started
That sounds great.
telesales.
I mean, California is the richest state of USA.
I actually absolutely enjoy it where I am now. I live in the Sedona Vortex. Okay, I live in an area where a lot of people that are close to the same kind of vibration of energy that I'm in are. So,
Which state is that? Which state? Like Texas or something?
Arizona.
Arizona, okay.
But I live in a very special place of Arizona called Prescott.
Okay.
So when I was there, I invested a lot of time and energy into working first 3.5 years of telesales, 2.5 years of car sales, 5 years of driving people.
Okay.
So this is over 100,000 people in 7 years time frame.
And you had all conversations with those guys, so you have a lot of understanding.
I do.
About human.
Yes.
Psychology.
So in the beginning, at 27, I started meditation.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, when I was working for Chrysler, I wanted to turn the feature on that's blush. You know, how do we blush? How, when somebody comes by you and they blush, how do they blush? And so I
You
started.
mean blush by getting a red face or something?
Yeah, like by actually when you see somebody glow, when you see somebody glow.
No, I think there is two kinds in which someone can blush. I think one is shame and one is enjoying humor.
Enjoy. I wanted people to enjoy me. I wanted to be when I was working and I was working for Chrysler and I was selling cars. I wanted to have that kind of energy flowing. So I was like out of searching after I started learning meditation. I was like, okay, how do people blush? How does that, how does that trait, if I could turn on that trait for my customers, do you get what I'm saying? So
yeah, but
I was out.
The point with sales is like most of the time the people coming to buy a car have already made their decision. It's about how much
Hear what I'm saying. So
how
when
much
you're
profit you can withdraw for your own
so
success. I mean,
hold on, let me
I
get
think
there.
you got some bonuses. Am I right? You got some bonuses if you sell for
I was
higher price?
first and second place every single month while I was driving 50, 60 hours a week on top of that for Uber.
And you get a bonus for selling much.
Yeah, so
more.
What I'm trying to say is that what I was doing was I was seeking out traits within ourselves that are shut off normally. And so
okay.
As I was doing that, I came across a day on my birthday where I had a candle and I was lit up more than the candle. And I have that picture on my Facebook page in there in my pictures where I actually had figured out how to turn that trait on. And so what I'm saying is that as I continued, I cared about people more than I cared about myself. Okay, I cut my hair a certain way to make her happy. I did certain things to make somebody else happy. And you can ask yourself, is a lot of people in that place? And a lot of people are. They're doing things for other people instead of themselves.
I read something about that. Like it was saying like this: if you don't have a plan for your own, then probably you will fit in someone else's plan.
And so at a certain point, I was fitting in that plan for somebody else. When I went to the gym for myself, don't go to the gym. When I got a diet, I got shakes going, my wife poured them down the drain. When
protein shakes, like for muscle building.
Yeah, when I was, doing a certain thing, even when I first started doing videos, I was told, I don't want you to do videos because I don't want my family to hear you're doing videos. So every single thing that I wanted to do for myself, to be just me, not selfishly, but just to uplift me, to believe in who I am, was shot down.
Yeah, but that's because of the society. There is this kind of norms
It's okay.
and values
It's
in society.
okay. So here I am, and you fast forward. I'm driving full time, customers in my car, and I come across customers who are not having self-love. They're letting the society.
What is your job, if I may ask? You're talking like you're a chauffeur or something?
I drove for Uber for 5 years. I drove Uber customers for 5 years.
Clients, you mean?
Yeah.
It's more a service, yeah.
So as I was doing that, I started to use this because I was doing meditation for 6 years at this point, where I was writing things down. And then as I was writing them down, I was speaking with so many people that I could tell who really cared and didn't care about themselves in a matter of minutes. And so as I was going through that, my wife ended up going, she was working for Domino's delivering pizzas, and she got in a car accident with my vehicle and almost was trying to destroy me in the last few years of marriage. And so what happened was I was putting all of my care into other people, and I was avoiding the one that I needed to care about the most.
Okay.
So here I am, and fast forward, we had lost our apartment. Because our income was cut, and we had like about a $2,100 apartment, and we had to board all of our stuff up and put it into a storage because we had about $5,000 a month in bills.
That's
And
a lot, man.
so here we are in a extended stay America, spending 3 months inside of extended stay America, and I'm working, I'm driving full time, I'm out there, and then we got her into a culinary school where she started to go do culinary. Now, I was out there driving, and I would come back and drop her off, and at times I would send her to school with an Uber because it was costing me as much to go pick her up as it was for me to pay for the Uber. You get what I'm saying?
So
So,
you can save that time for yourself, you mean?
yeah, to work. So, as I was going through that, we got into a situation where we moved into a roommate situation for a little bit less expensive place to be able to start to get ourselves above. Well, she became even more selfish. And so when she got an internship to Europe to try to better our lives, she went to Europe and she said, "You can come," but because the car accident that she got in that destroyed her car,
Again.
the car accident that she had gotten in that destroyed the car, they ended up paying her out for that. So she ended up getting $8,000, and she told me, "If you don't come to Europe, I'm
The
going
insurance
to."
company, you mean?
Yep. If you don't come to Europe to visit me, I'm going to divorce you. So here I am doing everything I can. I end up going to Europe, and when I go to Europe, she basically spends the time with me, and when I come back, she tells me I had a plan to never come back.
Which country did you go?
I've been to Paris. I've been to Portugal. I've been to Spain, Madrid, and I've been to London. I spent 40 days in Europe, and
you didn't like it, or?
I loved it.
So what's the problem, man?
See, the thing was that if I didn't come back to the U.S., okay, because we were immigrants, then she would lose her ability to possibly have a better life for the both of us. So I came back. I came back to work, and when I came back to work, she had already destroyed everything that we had. I had no chance to get an apartment. I had no chance to get anything. And so I'm sitting here in a place trying to get this thing going, and that person that we were living with, she found somebody else for me to live with. So I went and
in
lived
in Europe.
No, in San Diego. So I went there. As I was there, the dealership had actually stolen some money from all of us employees. So there was a lawsuit that was filed against the dealership that I had worked for. And so when I was there in that place, sleeping in that living room of that place that I had stayed, paying $500 a month to stay there, she started to actually get into things that were not a part of our relationship. And I ended up finding out that I was going to buy a van to be able to drive with, because at a point, the second vehicle, the Prius we had, broke down. Okay, I was driving a customer from San Diego to LA, and my second vehicle broke down, so I was renting a car at that point. And this is where the story begins, to the reason why I do videos, the reason why I want to help other people out, was from that point that I had gotten that, I went out and got a van to find out that the next month I was going to be sleeping in my van.
Okay.
So I found myself sleeping in 24-hour fitness parking lot and meditating and delivering food with 2 dogs in a van with me. Well, I actually started to really enjoy it. But the reason why was because I was washing my clothes, I was delivering food, I was breaking barriers inside. And that was actually one of the most healing things that ever happened to me. See, a lot of
You were
people
living in a van. Let me be clear. You were living in a van.
I was
So
taking
how did you manage like food, kitchen, and
bingo.
bathroom things?
So I was going around delivering food all day long with two dogs in the car with me with my van. I was meditating and taking showers at the 24-hour fitness. I was
Okay.
washing my clothes inside the bathroom and using the shorts dryer to wash the clothes. I had hand washed clothes on every single day that I washed by hand. Not only did I do that, I had all the supplements possible inside of the car that all I needed to do was get one meal a day, which of 20 to 30 orders a day, at least one person didn't pick up their food.
Okay.
So I was in a place where I was really in a place of mentality where I wanted to help out other people. I broke a 5 hours without even walking out of the sauna because it wasn't about what was going on outside. It was what about that storm that was going on inside.
It was some kind of struggle or a battle or
Yes. So
overcoming obstacles or something.
exactly. And that's when I went from loving somebody more than I loved myself to loving myself, was when I found observation, when I found time to have patience on myself, to have self-growth.
But is it true that in order to find your real self, you have to hit rock bottom? You really have to be
You
broke?
You do. You have to hit rock
Because
bottom.
it makes you think, it makes you appreciate things, and it makes you wonder, it makes you, I mean, things starts to not to be obvious after that point.
See, here's the thing. Society has taught, well, this is the lessons that I've learned from this. And there's more to this story, you know. There's a
You
lot
have to
more.
write it, man.
So that's why I was saying, when I realized the skills that it took, and I was listening to motivational videos as I was delivering food.
What kind of, man? I also sometimes watch motivational videos like Tony Robbins.
Oh, the best one out there have got to
I
be.
find him the best one.
The best ones out there are Les Brown and Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas, I never heard. I mean, if I compare those, I think Tony Robbins is the best, man.
Let me explain to you this.
Have you ever watched his videos?
I have. But you
That
got
guy
to
is
see
really
that
good, man.
Eric Thomas is the #1 motivational speaker in the world right now. He has.
How come Anthony Robbins is more famous?
Tony
didn't hear
Robbins is famous, but if you go into the world of YouTube, into the world where those guys, the spectrum that those people live in,
Oh, Tony Robbins is more professional. You have to buy a very, very expensive ticket for his seminars.
no. The highest paid motivational speaker as of right now is Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas. I will Google it, man.
Okay.
Eric Thomas. Thomas.
The tops out there are the world's changing in this motivational world, and I study it myself because I've been doing this for nearly 2 years.
He's an American or Eric Thomas? Eric Thomas. I have to remember it.
Yeah, so the rock bottom isn't truly rock bottom until the things that are not you die. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but after all, you get some value out of it, you know? I mean, most people take all things for granted, you know, like clean water, food, and it is not.
Exactly. No, I understand.
Really
I was in
not,
Spain.
because
I was in Madrid. I understand that the water's cleaner there, like 90% clean. I drank out of the water fountains in Spain. I understand. I've been to those places. Thank goodness I got to travel the bit I did. And
yeah.
but the travel that's the most important is this one. it's this one.
Your traveling, your journey is